Hello, and welcome again to Talking Baseball with Leon Lee. Today is November 30th, 2020. My name is Steve, and I'm here again with Ryan, and we are going to do our best to keep up with Leon while talking some baseball. How you doing today, Leon?
I'm great, Steve. Doing good. Always look forward to talking baseball and with you, and we got Ryan on. So hey, let's have fun.
All right, Leon, we're going to try to keep up with you again. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing good. Second podcast for me, and got a couple things jotted down that we mentioned prior, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with you guys tonight.
All right. Well, Leon, I think we wanted to talk a little bit more about hitting today, one of your favorite subjects.
Yeah, I do. But you know, it's funny. I use the analogy sometimes that you look at people's eyes when you talk hitting, because for any baseball player, hitting is always seems to be the most fun part of the game. And even myself, I played 17 years of pro ball. The only reason I played defense so I can get my at bats. That is the fun part of the game, and there's a lot to go to it. But I really like to aim this discussion at young kids, because if you're talking to a young kid in person, you could just see that look in their eyes, and it makes it really worthwhile to see that look. And I think our discussion on hitting tonight is going to be aimed more at young people, more so than pros, because they think they know it all already. And so yeah, I'd love to talk some ideas in this day and age of analytics and sabermetrics. Let's talk real hitting.
Yeah, so I think we have the perfect person here with us tonight, Ryan, because Ryan went through the school of Leon as far as hitting instruction, and
Yeah.
Ryan got to spend several years under your tutelage there, Leon, and I think we wanted to kind of talk about what a good batting practice session would be, or how you would go about teaching some of the youth today some of the different hitting techniques.
Well, in the day's game, unlike when I was growing up, where we just hit a lot, and then you use the terminology sometimes out of that the book, The Outliers, where we talk about the 10,000 rule, 10,000 hour rule, and the more you hit, the better you get, no matter what, whether you have a coach there or not. If you have the ability to swing the bat over and over and over and over again, you're going to get better. Today, in today's game, coaches feel like they have the ability to teach a kid how to hit overnight. And if they go out in the game and they go over, they're making the kid feel like he failed because he didn't get a hit after the coach had coached him the day before. And it simply doesn't work that way. For a young player to become a good hitter, it takes hours and hours and hours of hitting. And most of the best hitters become better hitters from doing the work, not from being coached. You see, because the repetitions, they start learning the field themselves. And hitting is all feel. Hitting is all timing. Hitting is all rhythm. So when you're working with young kids, if a coach can be patient enough to say, I'm just going to throw, or I'm going to have them take 300 swings off the tee and hitting the ball to a specific area, so they learn how to control and handle their hands, they're going to get way better doing that than telling them all these analytics or mechanical setups, or weight on the back leg, hands back, elbow up, shoulder here, Ike the mic, squash the bug. And it really complicates things. And one of the things I like to talk about now is how to uncomplicate things when it comes to hitting. Hitting is hard anyway. Hitting is a very emotional thing when you get to the plate, because it tests, it tests all your emotions. If you make an out, a kid feel like he failed, and he didn't. He just made an out. So the things that I like to talk about is to take the failure out of hitting and put the experience of hitting in, to say, I rather make an out and have the experience than worry about making an out and failing, you see.
Right.
So it's really important.
So, Ryan, I was going to jump in and ask you, all those sessions you had with Leon. Leon mentioned some of the different games you would play within the batting cage. You remember some of those favorite games you played with Leon within the batting cage?
Yeah, of course. So to continue off of what Leon was saying, all the little gimmicks and stuff, and squash the bug, power V, stay on the back leg, elbow up. Growing up, in the early 2000s, and I was being taught by the coaches that I had, it was really confusing, as a, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, because that was the same thing, but it was always different every single time. But when I met Leon, in the cages, we had a game called, Around the World, where you got to hit the targets, pretty similar to Pepper, and Leon mentioned that, kids don't really play Pepper anymore. And, as I kept doing that with you guys, I felt more comfortable. I felt more confident in my swing, and I learned a lot. And that's exactly what I think kids should be doing now. And, you gotta, like Leon also said, somehow we got to teach the coaches how to teach the kids correct.
Yeah. And to add to that, Ryan, it's more like, for me, and I think it's my forte, not only building confidence and self-esteem, because sometimes it's not all about baseball. It's about the young person's character. It relates on how he feels about himself, and how it relates to the grades he gets in school, how he's perceived by his friends, his outgoingness toward, and how he articulates himself to his parents and other people, the confidence. So for me, the best self, you see, instead of me teaching him or being a good teacher, I want him to be the best teacher he's ever seen. So what I'm giving him is the confidence to teach himself. There's only so much you could teach when it comes to hitting, because the pitcher's on the mound, he knows what he's going to throw, and the hitter doesn't know what he's going to throw. There's 8 other players on the field that are trying to catch everything you hit. So your chances of not getting a hit are far greater than your chances of actually getting a hit. So once a young player has the ability to think for himself, he'll feel good about his swing. He won't feel bad about the result, because nowadays coaches are putting too much emphasis on the results, and we cannot control results. We have to have a young player who has the ability to understand the process. Okay, I'm going to get in the batter's box. I'm going to have good plate coverage. I'm going to know where my hands are going to go to the ball. I understand what pitches I get my best swings at. And then, boy, you hear professional hitters, I put a good swing on the ball. Boom, that's the end of the story. So if you can teach a young kid to feel really good about himself, that he practiced enough to where he got his swing where he wanted to, you hit the ball on the barrel, somebody may catch it, but that's not a failure.
So I'm going to bring up something else, Leon. Growing up as a left-handed hitter, and still today, I'm still a left-handed hitter. When I was younger, like between 5 and probably 10, my uncle and my dad both realized that I could hit the low inside fastball. But as I see it coming, as I get older, it was much more intimidating to me. And then you saw that as well when I met you when I was around 13 and 12. And you reconstructed my swing, because you saw that issue I had, and opened up my stance as a left-handed hitter. And as I got older, that pitch has always been, my best pitch to hit.
Yes.
So,
but the reason we made the move is because every time you didn't swing at that pitch, or if you didn't hit it, I would see your head drop.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought was, I don't care if I told you to put cross-handed on the bat or turn around backwards or whatever, if it worked to build your confidence back up, you'd find a way to hit it. So in that case, what the decision I made wasn't because it was a mechanical move to open you up to say I could hit that pitch better. It's that when you said, wow, that feels better, then I automatically knew you were going to be able to hit it.
Yeah, that brings up that's an excellent point, Leon, because when we've seen you work with a lot of different kids, and you always focus more on the mental aspect of hitting or the approach, or rather than the the hardware part of it, the technique with where's your elbow and where's your hands and where's your feet, and you always focused more on the mental side of it.
Exactly. But also you have to study the player. Who's the player? What's his mental makeup? What's his physical makeup? Body type? How tall is he? How long is his arms? You know, there's certain things that you could try to ask a kid to do that he's just not physically and mentally made up to do. So you're setting him up for failure. So my work is to find out who that kid is. You know, it's like if I'm watching you, Ryan, butter your bread at breakfast, you know, and you just sitting there talking to me, buttering your bread. And all of a sudden I say, come on, Ryan, you can't butter your bread like that. You know, well, you're so used to buttering your bread like that. And all of a sudden I don't like my personal way. I don't butter my bread like that. So I'm trying to tell you, you can't butter your bread like that. Well, after a while you say, well, I'll do what he told me to do because he's my coach. But I don't feel real comfortable buttering my bread like that. So after a while, every time, you know, if you get ready to have breakfast, you just stop eating your toast. Because I don't like my toast without butter, and somebody's telling me how to butter it. You see, so use that as an example as a hitter. There's certain things, as soon as you step in the batter's box, the first time I see you step in the batter's box, you did it the natural way that you would step in the batter's box. Yes. So the first thing I'm not going to do is move your feet and say you can't hit like that. That's where you like your feet. That's where you like your hands. Okay, we start having batting practice. The balls are not going to where you want to go, and you get frustrated. Your head drops. You can get frustrated. I can show you that kind of body language, and body language sometimes tells me, oh, he's going to dig in and make it work. But if your head drops, you're frustrated. You kind of lose your energy a little bit because you feel like
it was really hard for me to go ahead and grasp that. But as soon as I understand it, you know, or understood what you were trying to say to me, you know, like still to this day, you know, now being 28 and the random ball games that I do play, and whenever I pick up a bat, you know, that's my comfortable stance, and I'm very confident with it now. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's where you're going to have your most success, is when you're comfortable, because now you can see the ball. You're focusing on seeing the ball. If your hands are not where you want them to, and mentally you're seeing your hands, we have a tendency to see what we think. So while the pitcher's focusing on you 100%, you may be 50% focused on him and 50% focusing on your hands. Because mentally, that's what you're actually thinking about. So as you think it, as you see it. So for me, I have to empower you to be comfortable. Now I'll say, Ryan, like if you took your hands back about a half an inch, you'll get a little bit more leverage. Let's see how that feels. That approach, not say, come on, you got to get your hands back. Well, wait a minute. I just made you do something that doesn't feel natural to you. But if you work with it, if you say, oh, wow, now I see that. I see why that ball's not going anywhere. See, and once you buy into that move, it'll work. I don't care if I tell you to put your hands over your head. You see what I mean? There's no absolutes in baseball. Some coaches think it's got to be a specific way you hit, and you can't do that.
Exactly. Try this out. Don't just do it. Try this new thing out. And that's exactly, yeah.
And that was only after allowing the player to hit their way and you analyzing that for a period of time to make that maybe that small adjustment, or not make it, even just to suggest it.
Exactly. Just suggest. And sometimes I'll say my approach is, you know what, that swing is looking pretty good, but you notice the ball's not really acting. I could tell by your body language here, the ball's not going the way you think it should. So let's make a small adjustment to that. That's where my professional background comes in, because I know how to make those adjustments. But adjustments are timing. You can't just make an adjustment for the sake of adjustment. You got to adjust accordance to how that personality of that kid is or that player is. That's where you connect, because now you're working together and not saying, come on, you got to get those hands back there.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. You're having a conversation to work together to improve a situation. You're not telling them. You're just having a conversation with them, and sometimes a lot of the ideas and you're are coming from that feedback that you're getting from the player.
Exactly. And see, a lot of coaches, they want to be right. So they'll wait until a kid hit a ball maybe 1 out of 8 times. They'll hit a ball hard and say, yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Well, the reason that doesn't work is because now he takes that swing into a game, and you take the batting net away from it and put fans in there and put an umpire back there, and the whole game changes. Now you got a real pitcher out there throwing pretty hard, and all of a sudden you're hitting in a position that's not natural for you. If I'm going to work with Ryan, I'm not working with him for the sake of practice. I want to prepare him to be able to hit in the game, because that's the only place it counts. You know, how you perform in the game is the only thing you take home with you. You don't take practice home with you as much, or batting practice. Oh, I hit the ball great today. Well, I had a great batting practice. I hit 20 balls out of 20. I hit them hard. But that doesn't translate to a ball game. The ball game is that now it's your mental state, your emotions. How am I going to prepare to step in that batter's box? There's a lot of emotions going on there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so my job in practice is to prepare you to take a at bat in the game. That's where you want to have not I would say success, but progress. You
Right.
see, you want to get better every time, every year you play, or every month you play. You want to be a little better that next month than you were the month before.
Right.
Because your body growth, you know, like Rhino, you know, you were a little skinny little kid with little bitty ankles. And then you start growing into your body. So now you start understanding more. You start going, oh, okay. Now I understand. Now I get it.
Exactly. No,
It
yeah.
doesn't
As you get older and you keep what, examples of what you taught me, kids will understand that as they get older.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this time, it's like some coaches want you to get better the next day. And then all of a sudden they go over in the game. You just didn't do what I told you to do.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder he went over.
And Leon, what would you say? And we've all seen these online, especially now this year. Of course, there's always a lot of videos about baseball and hitting, and everybody posts their coaching video about hitting. And you've seen some of those. What would you say to a lot of those types of things that you've seen online these days?
I tell you, I saw one the other day that got a lot of comments, and it was really. I hate to criticize batting coaches because they're trying to do their best. They're not purposely trying to hurt a young player. They try to give what they've learned, but there's some of these young coaches that they read about a concept and then they go and say, this is what I'm going to teach this kid. This kid may be a completely different. Every hitter you run into, I don't care what age, they're different. They think different. They feel different. They have a different style. Even though if you see their swing at the point of contact, they all look pretty much the same. We all look the same at contact pretty much, but they have all these different ways of teaching. And if you start teaching a kid out of a book or what you think, and I always say you cannot play guessing games with a kid's swing or how he approaches the game, because every kid is different. And as you coach, you have to coach every kid different. What I see on these videos sometimes, I've seen so many weird things that it just blows my mind, because they do not apply to the game. You can't get on a pitching mound that's slanted down, one of them artificial pitching mounds.
Yeah.
You
Never
sit
like that.
one guy is standing on the angle left-handed, and swinging uphill because the angle of the pitcher's mound. Well, when you get in the game and you have that ramp,
No.
you're sitting on solid ground, flat ground. And you're teaching the kids how to turn and hit upward. And it's like, okay, you have all your different ways, these genius ways, your own way. You're trying to get credit. A coach should never try to get credit. A coach should just teach. Say, oh yeah, I'm the best. Remember Charlie Lau?
Yeah.
Well, Charlie Lau wrote a book. He coached George Brett. He was the batting coach with the Royals. And then his son, Charlie Lau Jr., comes along and he tells me personally, I'm going to take my father's stuff and I'm going to become known as the best hitting coach in the world. And I said, well, there's your failure right there. You're trying to get credit. He's got his own way of teaching hitters. And the only one that he's ever coached after all these years that he would take any credit for was Alex Rodriguez. And Alex Rodriguez had the same swing in the major leagues that he had at high school before he met Charlie Lau Jr. But he went to Charlie Lau's batting thing for a while in Florida. But Charlie wanted to take credit for Alex Rodriguez batting. But see, here's the thing. He asked me a question. Hey, Leon, if you got a 12-year-old kid, would you start him 50-50, 60-40, or 70-30? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's weight balance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, regardless of what philosophy you use, Charlie, if I saw a 12-year-old kid and he got in the cage with me, the first thing I'd do is leave him alone and watch him. And you know what he told me? He said, oh, no, Leon, that's totally wrong. He says, there ain't a 12-year-old around that don't need to be changed. And the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that's a dangerous coach to me that'll take a Ryan and put him in the cage, and before you even seen him, start changing him.
Yeah, what if he's already hitting a bunch of line drives all over the place?
That's right. That's right. I had a kid out of Vanderbilt when I was with Montreal Montreal. And he had a really unorthodox swing. But he hit 300 everywhere he went. And he's a scout now, a major league scout for the Dodgers, matter of fact. Oh, Dodgers, yeah. He's with the Dodgers. And his name is Ty, I can't remember his last name. Almost had it. But everybody in the front office wanted me to change his swing. And I said, why? I don't care if you're standing on your head and put a frying pan between your toes. If you're hitting line drives, why change it? And he went to every level he went, he hit. And A ball he hit, double A he hit. He got hurt later on. He's still in the game. But the thing was, if it works, who cares what it looks like?
Right.
Exactly.
Everybody think that I got a kid who's got a perfect swing, a high draft pick, and I'm throwing BP and he's looking at, he hasn't hit a ball out the infield.
Right.
And the major league manager of the club, Philippe Alou, saying, he wanted me to see the kid hit what I thought. And I said, well, he hasn't hit a ball out the infield yet. And he goes, well, my dad told me that everything is in the form. I said, well, the scout saw the form, so he signed you to a contract. But the bottom line, if you can't hit a ball out the infield, you're not going anywhere. I don't care what you're swinging. I could take a picture of it and hang it on the wall. It looks good. But you can't hit a ball out the infield, it's useless. So I said, forget the form and start swinging the bat.
Right.
So there's all these different ways that people are teaching, to answer the question. These coaches are teaching kids things that don't really apply to what they need to do to get production in the game.
Right. One of the other drills that I always liked doing with the kids was the kind of rhythm drill. You had to do the shuffle as you did the soft toss to them. You had to
shuffling your feet.
Yep, that was a very fun one.
Yeah.
I love that drill. I love it. It really builds confidence with the kid too, because once they start feeling that rhythm, it's like at first they're all tripping over their feet, but everybody learns to shuffle. And every athlete, whether you're playing basketball or football or baseball, or you're leading and getting your secondary leads on the bases, every athlete has to shuffle. So the shuffling part is just getting them in rhythm. And then when they swing and feel the rhythm of the swing going through, it takes them out of their normal setup in the batter's box where they're sitting there, oh, my weight has to go here, my shoulder opens here. Well, you can't do any of that when you're shuffling through the ball.
Right.
You know,
I think
I learned that along.
it's contradictory to what, I think a lot of the kids think. Everybody's teaching them, hey, your feet don't move, everything's stationary. And then
Exactly.
You're telling them to shuffle and then still swing a bat, which kind of takes, it breaks that mold and it gets them into a new mindset.
Exactly. And it gives them the ability to feel. If you talk to guys like Ricky Henderson and the way he played, he'll tell you flat out, I played by feel and vision. I reacted to what I felt. I reacted to what I saw. I didn't wait for somebody to tell me. If you're going first to third on a base hit, you already got the information. You know the outfielders, you know their arms, you know where they're playing. So as soon as the ball hit off the bat, you don't have to tell Ricky Henderson whether to go to first or third. He already knows.
Yeah,
so,
you're reacting. You're not thinking.
Exactly. So that's what you're teaching young kids, to start learning how to trust their feeling, because they'll react to what they feel. They'll react to what they see. And once you have that, boom, you got a baseball player. Now the coaching part comes in. Now they are all ears. Okay, let me add to this rhythm. Let me add to this feel. Let me add to this confidence. Okay, now a coach can keep building it, not sitting there. And then also the player has say so. Ryan, we would talk hitting all the time. You didn't just sit there and go, yes, coach. Yes, coach. Yes, coach. Me and your uncle and dad, we would always sit around and talk hitting. And then we'd laugh about it, because hitters don't laugh anymore. Hitters don't smile. Man, you got to open your eyes and put a big smile on your face to be a good hitter. And they're sitting there squinching their eyes. What happens when you squint your eyes? It's pressure. You're feeling tension. But if you open your eyes and kind of put a smile on your face, or put something in your mouth to make it relax, all your shoulders will relax. And that's what kids don't know. They don't know the difference between tense and intense. They get tense when your shoulders tighten up. They get all tense because the coach is putting all that pressure on them. But intense, you put your pressures in your gut, in your core, where it should be, and your shoulders stay relaxed. But there's no kids really learning that now, because their coaches are telling them everything. So when they get in the batter's box, they're squinching their eyes and they're tensing their shoulders. You can't squint your eyes without tensing your shoulders. You see, so when kids are young, you have to teach them then how to relax. Be intense, but don't be tense. To me, that's the best lesson you could teach a 10, 12-year-old. That's how you learn how to focus. Some kids think they're focusing when all they're doing is worrying.
Totally understandable. I totally agree with that.
And maybe Ryan, you could comment on this. When you were working with Leon, you were able to have those conversations and provide feedback for him. How did he make it more comfortable to do that for you, as opposed to maybe some of the other coaches you had?
Put it this way, I used to, when I was obviously, very young, I would just, when I jump in the batter's box, I got my hands up, I'm tensed, I'm waiting for the pitcher to throw the ball, as opposed to, getting in there, and it's kind of like, it's about timing too, and throwing the pitcher off their timing as well. And you kind of go in there and you watch them and you get comfortable, and then it's like I said, kind of last time, it's kind of like a chess game, but you can't just go in there expecting to hit the ball. You got to be paying attention. And Leon did teach me that, and he would always tell me that, and come in and he wouldn't throw the ball to me because I'm just already standing there ready to go ahead and hit the ball.
You remember that, huh?
Yes, I do. Yeah. It's like, so.
What are you doing? Yeah, you get real tense and stuff. you get in there and kind of get a little rhythm going and a little, come on, man, you throw the ball. Come hurry up. Give me
Little
the
bounce
ball.
in your step. Yeah.
Body language and that rhythm and timing is set up. It's all based on being, you're focused, but you're not tense. So when the pitcher's releasing the ball, there's pitchers that have a lot of violence in their motions. So you can't be jumpy. You still got to keep everything slow. I always say, slow the ball down. Slow the ball down. When that ball's coming at you, you're kind of going back a little bit. Your rhythm is going back. You're tracking the ball in the hitting zone, and you never panic. And your rhythm and timing will always keep you on track with the ball, no matter if it's going 80 mile an hour or 95 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You can slow that pitch down if you don't panic and if you don't jump. If you keep your head quiet.
Exactly, and every hitter is different, and it's a timing mechanism to a point, but you got to be watching that pitcher, and like think of a Gary Sheffield. He's doing his own thing with his bat, and then look at a Craig Counsell doing his thing.
That's right.
But that's their own thing.
Yeah, but when the ball actually comes, they slow it down.
Mm-hmm. And they're ready.
Once he had the hits going, boom, 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 and boy, when that ball came, it just slowed it down. And he saw the ball. Tony Gwynn had probably the best eyesight of any hitter you ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Only because he was real quiet in his mode. He tracked the ball. I mean, if a fly was buzzing around in your head and you had a fly swatter, if you try to jerk your head around, keep up with that fly, you'll get dizzy and fall down. But if you slow that fly down, you just relax, breathe, you slow it down. Next thing you know, pow, you can knock that fly right out the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's no question that, for Ryan and countless others, you've created an environment where they're comfortable providing feedback and comfortable just learning and comfortable even to fail. And, in creating that environment, I think that's the type of coaching technique that, you like to produce.
I really do. If I'm running a practice for young kids, number one is I want them to can't wait to wake up, get their day going. I want them to can't wait to get to practice because they know they're going to get something out of it because they know they have some say-so in it.
Right.
That if they miss a ball, they're not going to get yelled at. I want you to miss a ball. If I'm driving down the street and I'm in a hurry, I get every red light. You get every red light.
Yep.
You just take your time and say, I'll get there when I get there. And matter of fact, I need a little more time in the car because I like to think. It won't even give me the time because every light turns green.
That's right.
So in baseball, when you're running the practice, and if you're putting pressure on the kid, putting pressure on, it's like, man, he just, after a while, he just can't wait to get away from practice. He doesn't really want to get there, but if they're having fun and they enjoy it, they get there, you're allowing them to take part in practice. You have conversations. Hey, son, what do you think here? Oh, I missed that ball. So what? I wanted you to miss it. What did you learn from it? Wow. Next thing you know is that maybe if I try going back a little bit and give myself a little more time, or maybe if I take this other angle, let's try a few different ways. Now the kid, you know what? I like going back a little bit. I'm not as quick footed as that other guy. The other guy might be able to go at this angle. And once I don't care how old he is, once he feels like he could take part in practice and he's leaving there feeling like he got something accomplished, the next thing you know, you had a 2-hour practice and it felt like an hour.
Right.
It's already time to leave, but you don't want a kid to go, man, I can't wait till this practice is over with. So what I'm saying is a long way around to say you want to create an atmosphere where you want the kids to want to be there.
That's right.
And sure, kids are going to obey. They're going to obey the coach, and they're going to hustle. They're going to run around, and they're going to do this. And some coaches make kids run when they miss a ball. To me, that's the worst thing a coach can do, is run somebody for punishment. And running should be just the funnest part of the game, or part of practice. If you want to do some conditioning stuff, you could run some lines or around the field, just say build ups. And this is what you're running for, to build the strength in your legs, the power in your legs, so you can make turns on bases. And then you have contests on base running. You know, you say, okay, let's see who can go from first to third and keep a stopwatch on it. Oh, 1/10 of a second. Remember, you hit that bag on top and you went way out toward the outfield and then came back to third. That cost you 2/10 of a second.
Right.
Oh, coach, let me try it again. Let me try it again. Let me do it again. I got to get that time down. You know,
Exactly. That makes the running fun, as opposed to, like, say you made a mistake and it's like, now I got to go run because I made a mistake.
And before, oh my God, I'm in great shape. And I got in better shape because my body has to be in shape in order for you to make those turns on the bags.
Right.
And if I make right turns on the bag, I'm safe by a step instead of out by a step.
That's right. Well, unfortunately, I think we're coming up against time here, and I know we wanted to have one more quick segment with a little bit of baseball trivia to end the podcast this time around. So I think Ryan's got a good question queued up for us today.
Okay, well, right on. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go with it. So everyone who knows Bo Jackson, it's his birthday today. He's 58 years old, and he is the second person ever to hit a home run and steal a base in an all-star game. But who was the first? And everybody knows him.
So Leon, do you know that one?
Oh my God. I feel like I should. He was the second person to hit a home run and steal a base in his first All-Star game.
Bo Jackson was.
Bo Jackson was the second person.
But who was the first? So you got to think back.
In his first All-Star game.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was necessarily his first All-Star game, Ryan, or just a All-Star game.
Just a All-Star game. But, you know, once you guys get the answer, you'll know it.
In an All-Star game. Hank Aaron?
No, but, you know.
That's close.
That's close. They
and it had to be Willie Mays.
Yep, there it is. The Say Hey Kid. That's who it was.
Say Hey Kid. Yeah,
that's
Willie
right.
Mays. I knew it would be one of them.
Yeah, so that was a little fun fact I learned today, and I was like, that'll be a good question, you know, especially since it's Bo Jackson's birthday today. So, fun fact of the day.
I bet Bo Jackson numerous times years ago. He was after a spring training game. We were walking out to the parking lot together, and the kid came up and wanted his autograph, and he said, "I think I already signed one for you. You gonna go sell it somewhere?" You know, like. So I asked Bo, I said, "Does it really matter?" He thought about it a second. He said, "Hey, kid, come back over here." and he signed it for him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a good story to kind of end it on tonight.
That was fun.
We will talk again hopefully next week. And Leon, do you have any closing thoughts?
You know, closing thoughts is, you know, number one, baseball's a great game. I'm old school, and now it seems like they're separating old school from new school, but baseball's baseball. I don't care which way you look at it. But I did a thing on Facebook today. Let's put a search party together and go out and find the old game and bring it back. But I like to see kids learning better, and this is a great format to do it with and talk about.
All right, good. Hey, Ryan, anything else on closing?
I mean, until next week, I'll have another trivia question for everybody, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And again, you can always find us on Spotify and on Google Podcasts now just by searching on Talking Baseball with Leon Lee. And again, the email is talkingbaseballwithleonlee@gmail.com. And we'll talk to you all again soon.